Hey everyone and welcome back. So continuing our learning journey towards the dashboards and panels, today we'll be discussing about the newer type of input, which is a text-based input. So let's go ahead and quickly do an edit. And within here, you have an input type of text. So let's go ahead and explore that. Now, before we go ahead and use this input, first let's go ahead and create SPL query that this input would use. So from a newer tab opening the Splunk Enterprise main console, we'll go to search and reporting app. Let's change the time range to all time and we'll be exploring a newer type of log source type, which is Linux_secure for today's dashboard. So multiple events are available here. Let's go ahead and create a statistics out of it. So I'll say stats count by, and we want to count by, so there are multiple interesting fields that are available here. So let's say source and user. Let's do a quick search. So we should see the source. So this is the source IP as well as the user and the count associated. So this is the query that we'll be using. Let's go ahead and save this to our existing dashboard of access logs. And within the panel title, let's just call it as Linux Secure Logs and we'll save to dashboard. Perfect. So let's go ahead and view the dashboard here. Let's change the time range to all time so that our entire dashboard is visible. Great. So now here we are seeing the source, we are seeing the user, as well as we are seeing the count. So this is a pretty straightforward thing that we already understand by now. Now discussing about the text-based input that we were discussing. So whenever I go ahead and add a text-based input, so let's take a simple example. So let's say you have a source, you have a user, and you have a count. Now let's say you want one more column over here. So let me quickly show you. Within here, under the interesting fields here, you see that there are multiple interesting fields. We have currently made use of user and we have currently made use of source. However, there can be other interesting fields like the SRC port, the SSHD protocol, and so on. So let's say that what you want is just by referring the interesting field within the text box, that column should also appear within the dashboard. So that is what we intend to do. And this is something that you can do over here. So let's say that we are interested to see the SRC port. So what you should be able to do, if a user types SRC port within the dashboard, there should be one more column like user SRC port along with count. Alright, so that is the use case. So let me quickly refresh this page since this is the older one. So now we see that there are 3 panels. Now let's go ahead and add a new input of text. Now within here, let's click on edit. The token, let's just call it as Linux Secure and label this, call it as secure dynamic field. Alright, once done, you can click on apply. Let's do a save. Now at this stage, you have a secure dynamic field, and within here, if I'll do a source_port, which is basically here, so you have multiple source port that are visible. And if I click on submit, this should not really affect anything as now. So what you need to do is you have to associate this text input with the Linux Secure Logs panel. So now what needs to be done? Let's go ahead and quickly do an edit. Within here, let's edit this search and let's also specify, let's quickly verify the token over here. So the token is Linux Secure. I'll copy this up. Let's edit the search. And here I'll specify Linux Secure. Alright, so this is like a variable. Let's do an apply. Now at this stage, you see SRC_port is also appearing similar to what we had added here. Let's do a save. Great, so this seems to be working. Let's remove this. Let's do a submit. You see the SRC port went away. To test if things are working with other fields, let's try the SSHD protocol. So let's say SSHD protocol. I'll click on submit and you see the SSHD protocol also appears. So this is the high level overview about the text based input. So with this, we'll conclude today's video.